Good morning, Southeast Missouri, and wherever you may be listening. This is the Retirement Playbook, brought to you by Paul Wealth Management. We are the retirement people, and we're here with you every Saturday morning, bringing you some great information to help you to get to and through your own retirement. And as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Tony Shore.
Hey, Brock, great to be here, buddy. I am excited about our show today. I'm pumped up, right? It's going to be a good one.
Hey, listen, nobody's more pumped up than this guy right now. Why? I think we all know why, because we've talked about it on the show before. The Kansas City Chiefs are world champions once again, back to back, baby. Everybody knows this song. The champions. We are the champions. No or lose. That's right. The Kansas City Chiefs are back-to-back world champs, folks. Enjoy this ride. It's not going to last forever.
I don't know. At this point, it might, as long as Mahomes.
If Mahomes stays healthy, we're going to be just fine. Listen, folks, I hope you're in a good mood. And if you weren't, maybe that puts you in a good mood, right? So we're here this morning. We're going to talk to you about Roth IRAs and the conversions of regular IRAs to Roth IRAs. But before we get into that, folks, listen, go to our website. It's a great website. I don't know if we can actually put that song on our website, Tony, but if we could, I would. But there's a lot of other great things when it comes to retirement on our website. Again, it's Alspaughh, ALSPAUGH, wealthmanagement.com, all spelled out there, folks. And if you need help in your life, go to that website, start there, get some great information. You can check out past shows. You can download our rollover guide. That's the new thing. We don't have the retirement income toolkit up there anymore. It's now the retirement rollover guide. So if you need help with your rollover, in other words, if you work at Southeast Mercy, okay, you're going to have an opportunity to do something with your funds. And I'm not saying rolling it over to an IRA is the best option. It's one of the options. You can go to the new plan. There's a lot of different things you can do, but you got to get a plan, okay? That's what we're here for. Don't just do these things and hope that it works out, okay? Get the plan together. Get the right advice for you. Not for your coworker, not for your boss, nobody else. It's the plan that's right for you. Give us a call at Alspaughh Wealth Management, 573-332-7855, or you can request an appointment with us on our website at alspaughwealthmanagement.com. You can also check out past shows, and you can order my book. It's called The Last Paycheck. In fact, Tony, here we go. This is what I'm going to do this morning. I'm in such a good mood, and I love this stuff. We're going to offer a free copy of my book for anyone that calls and requests an appointment, or to get a to anybody that calls and says, you know what, I want a copy of your book. You can go to our website, type your name in, and it will send us some information, and we'll send the book to you. There we go. I'm giving away a free copy of my book to anybody that wants it. Boom. It's wow. You know why? Because the Chiefs won the Super Bowl, Tony. Woo-hoo! That's why.
Yeah, so just give Brock a call, right? That's all they have to do is pick up the phone.
Give us a call or look us up on our website. You can actually click the button.
You do have to mention the show, though. You have to mention you heard about it on the Retirement Playbook with Brock Alspaughh. Just call 573-332-7855 and take advantage of Brock's generous spirit. Get a free copy of the book, The Retirement Playbook. It is such a great book. It's a great guide, and this is a real book. I mean, this is like $14.95 on Amazon.com.
Correct.
You're getting, correct.
So you're getting this book to help you get started. But if you need a comprehensive plan and you need to put this together now, okay, because there's no better time than now to help yourself in not only in the next few years, but in your retirement years. Give us a call for your consultation, 573-332-7855. Now, listen. We always assume that we're going to get to an age, most commonly 65, and things are just going to fall into place and we're going to retire. And that's simply not true, Tony. It's something that you have to work for. It's something you have to be disciplined to save for. It's
Yep.
something you have to do to get a plan to make sure that you can retire when and how you want. Because the when is important, but how is even more important, right? We don't want to
Right.
have to give up things and sacrifice if we don't have to. Why don't we sacrifice a little bit during our working years to not have to sacrifice big time in retirement? If you want to live out your retirement dreams, you got to have a plan. And that's exactly some of the things that we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about Roth IRAs. Tony, you know, everybody listening knows I'm a huge proponent of the Roth IRA. There's also some things you can do to help yourself if you don't have a Roth IRA. Open one up. Why do I always recommend to open a Roth IRA, Tony? Here's why. It starts your clock. There's a clock on a Roth IRA, and it's 5 years. And even if you're 59 and a half, okay? And what that says is that, yeah, the advantage of a Roth IRA is that not only the money you put in, but all the growth is tax-free to you in retirement.
So the principal and the interest comes out 100% tax-free.
Correct. As long as you meet these, requirements.
So it needs to be in there 5 years is what you're
Correct.
saying. Yeah.
Correct. To get the earnings tax-free, you can always pull out your principal.
But those retirement accounts, you're not supposed to touch those until retirement anyway. So if you're 50 years old, that's a good vehicle to use.
Oh, it's a huge vehicle to use. And again, like you said, I would never recommend anybody touch their principal anyway. But that is one of the benefits of the Roth IRA is that the money that you put in is you can take that out prior to that 5-year rule. Okay. But if you want to touch those earnings, it got to be in there for 5 years. So just start a Roth IRA and put $5 in it. Right. I mean, obviously we want to try to maximize those, the how much you can put in, but I'm just saying by funding it at all, gets your 5 years started. Okay. So that's always something I would recommend that you do. Okay. So I'm going to actually reference an article here, U.S. News and World Report, 10 reasons to save for retirement in a Roth IRA. And it has some great information that we're going to talk about here right now. So look, a lot of the argument with a Roth IRA is that, well, it doesn't help me out with taxes now. And you're right. It doesn't. But here's the thing. It helps you in the future when you're potentially in a higher tax bracket or tax rate. Okay.
Yep.
Now, and that's the other argument. Well, I'm 5 years away from retirement, and I know for a fact that I'm going to have less income than what I'm earning now. Guess what, folks? You're right. You shouldn't do the Roth IRA in certain cases. If you're a physician and you're making $600,000 a year, and you know in retirement that you're only going to make $200,000 a year, guess what, folks? Yeah, you should do pre-tax. All right. So, but now there's other reasons to consider the Roth, even in that particular situation. I'm going to offer that up here a little bit later in the show.
Sure. But for a lot of us, mere mortals, like a radio show co-host who isn't in the 600,000 range,
right?
Roth might be a great idea because I don't want to take a pay cut in retirement.
My
goal is for my wife and I to have about the same take home or money that we do now for take home. And so we may or may not be in roughly the same tax bracket. In that case, a Roth is a much better idea, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. So
but it depends on your circumstances.
It does depend on your circumstance, but that's what my point was, Tony. There's very few people where this doesn't make sense. Right. Now, here's the other thing. Okay, so let's go back a little. Let's take a step back and kind of explain what a Roth IRA is, because I think sometimes we take it for granted that everybody understands this, Tony, right? Because we talk about it all the time.
Sure.
But basically, the Roth IRA, you do not get any tax benefit for putting the money in. Okay. In fact, you have to use after-tax money. So you've already paid the taxes on this income. This is left over. You put it in, and then from there forward, it grows tax-free. Okay. Whereas the traditional IRA, or your traditional 401k too, by the way, and Roth 403b, there's that option too, is that you get a tax benefit now. It's pre-tax dollars. It grows tax deferred. But then when you take it out in retirement, the money you put in and the earnings are all taxable to you at whatever tax rate you are in retirement. That's why you have to do this deep analysis, folks. This isn't just, oh, Brock says a Roth IRA is good, so that's what I'm going to do. No, 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 no. We want to do a full analysis to make sure what plan is right for you. Now, I will tell you that so many people, when they look at, for example, doing a rollover, right? We've been talking a lot about rollovers. Why? Because we have almost 2,000 people in our area, Tony. They're going to have an opportunity to do something with their current retirement plan dollars at Southeast Mercy. And then they also need to roll into the new plan that Mercy is bringing on with Fidelity. Okay. So that's the point, is that, okay, what are your options? How do I understand which is best? And even if it's your traditional 403B money, let's say you didn't do the Roth 403B, because you've had that option the last few years, by the way, in that plan. But let's just say you have the traditional, and let's say you've built up a couple $100,000 in this thing, okay? And then you say, okay, well, I think the best option for me after consulting a professional is to maybe roll this over to an IRA. That might be a very good idea, but then you might want to take it a step further, Tony, and say, should I convert some of this money to a Roth IRA? Because from there forward, it's going to be tax-free. It may make sense to do that. Right. So that's why I always say, every time I talk to people about, rolling money over, first of all, let's make sure that that is the best option for you. The second thing is, what tax rate are you in? So in other words, we'll take a look at the brackets. We're going to go 10, we're going to go 12, and we're going to go 22, and we're going to go 24. Well, there's a big jump between 12 and 22, right?
Right.
But if you had an opportunity, there was room in your 12% tax bracket to convert some of this money to a Roth, why wouldn't you do that?
Yeah.
You're paying 12% taxes to have something grow tax-free for the rest of your life. Now, that doesn't include Missouri taxes.
Yeah.
So,
and we have to assume that taxes are going to go up in the future. That's another factor that makes the Roth so appealing, because right now we have historically low tax rates. So,
correct.
well, taxes are on sale right now before that sunsets, that rule, and the taxes go up again, which they almost have to. I mean, the government can't kick that can down the road only so far, right? With our national debt and
totally separate conversation. Tony.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know.
true.
I mean, I'm seriously to the point right now where I don't know. I mean,
well, they're not going to. They either have to raise taxes or cut spending to make it work, and they're not going to
saying that for 10 years.
They're not going to cut spending, though.
Right.
They're going to raise
not going to cut spending. What are they going to do? They're going to raise taxes to get more revenue coming in.
Yeah.
Right. And I agree with you, by the way. I wasn't trying to disagree. I agree with you, but it's just, gosh dang, it can be frustrating, And then we have these
it's
tax
a whole
rates.
other conversation, right?
It is.
I get that.
Yeah. But to your point, okay, in 2017, President Trump at the time, signed a 2017 Jobs and Tax Cut Act. Okay. And so what that did was, for a temporary period of time, reduced all of the tax brackets. Okay. So, for example, the 25 went to 22. Okay. So they all reduced down. And so in 2020, at the end of 2025, at the end of next year, these tax rates we've been enjoying are going to go away. We're not going to go away. They're going to go up. Okay. Right. Along with that, by the way, and this is where I want to go here in a few minutes with the Roth IRA, but the estate tax exemption, $13.7 million right now. So basically over $27 million is your estate. If you're less than that, then there's no inheritance tax. That thing's going way down at the end of 2025 or at the beginning of 2026, right? We don't know exactly. They haven't told us yet. There's a lot of assumptions out there. But the point is that there's the environment. We do know, like you said, that taxes are lower than they will be in 2 years. Period. That's it. I mean, so if there's some planning to be done, let's take advantage of it. I think for people that are in that bracket, that 12% bracket, we're talking about $89,000 or less. Plus, don't forget about your standard deduction. If you're taking the standard deduction, it is added to that tax bracket maximum. So we want to make sure that we're taking advantage of these tax rates. And so that was my point. Taking it to another level, the Roth conversions is a fantastic tool. And even if let's go back to our example of 200,000, Tony. you know, when you have a $200,000 retirement account, and let's say you make $75,000, okay? Even if it's 10, 15, or 20,000, that you can convert and still stay in 12% tax bracket, like, why wouldn't you do that? Like, just
Right. Plus,
do
it
it.
might be advantageous anyway to have both. You need all different
For
types of
sure.
buckets for
Yes.
your money in retirement. So now, in your working years, when you're transferring that to, you gave the example of the local company where they have a chance
Right.
to, they have to make a decision. Am I converting my old 401(b) or 403(b) or
Right.
whatever it is they have, the employer account? What should they do with that money? Let's say they have 200,000 in there, might be a good idea for some people to leave, hey, let's leave 150 in tax deferred and take 50 of it and move it into a Roth. You can do both.
Oh,
Move
for sure.
some into a traditional and some into a Roth. That's what you're saying, isn't it?
It is what I'm saying. And by the way, just to be, you know, full disclosure, I mean, there are some plans, 403(b), 401(k)s, what have you, that do allow for in-plan conversions. So, in other words, you can convert inside of your 403(b) or your 401(k) to Roth, okay? And then also, here's another Roth conversion topic is that there are some companies that can match your 401(k), you know, if it's a Roth 401(k), there
Right.
are some companies that can match now after tax to add to your Roth IRA. So you pay the
Wow.
taxes on their contribution.
So if you have
Um,
a company Roth, like a Roth
right.
403(b) or a Roth 401(k), you might want to look into that. You always want to take advantage of the company match first.
Oh, for sure.
But
Yeah.
if you have the opportunity and you're moving from one company to the next or one account to the next, rather than taking this 403(b) and moving it into a new one or a new 401(k), you do have more freedom and control if you work with a financial advisor and move it into a traditional IRA rather than keep it in the employer account. But you also want to make sure you're taking advantage of the employer accounts and
Oh,
getting
for
that
sure. Like,
match, right?
yeah, for sure. You hit it right on the head. You definitely want the first priority is to get free money,
Yeah, the
right? Who
match.
doesn't
Yeah,
want
that's free
free money?
money.
Like, you
Yeah.
got to get the free money. But if your employer, because this is part of the Secure Act 2.0, by the way, about
Yes.
this is all brand new information about, you know, the Roth match. So in other words, your employer. So that will start. I believe it's next year. I'll have to look at that for you
Yeah, it's
guys. But
this year or next year that they have the ability to
right,
if they decide to. Now,
right.
some companies might not decide. They might say we'll only
Well,
match
because here's
in
the
the
deal, Tony.
traditional, not the Roth.
Exactly. But here's the deal, like, not every employer is gonna wanna actually have that ability. Like, just because
Yes.
that's something that it's available doesn't
Right.
mean that your plan is going to adopt those provisions, by the way.
Right, right.
So
So you have
just
to
throwing that out there too. Don't go to your employer and say, "Hey, Brock said this," you know. No. Here's the deal.
yeah,
Every plan is different. Okay. There's requirements and regulations with ERISA plans, right? So
sure.
ERISA governs these plans.
Yes.
But then the employer and the sponsor has the ability to modify and adopt certain ones, right? So
Right.
like this is one they don't have to do, and I understand it. I mean, look at it. It could be an accounting nightmare or a payroll nightmare to go, well, this person's doing Roth. This one's not. This one's doing Roth and they want the match Roth. I mean, so it's just, I understand it. You know, we'll see what happens with all that. But anyway, so let's move on to the next topic, Tony, and that's estate planning. Why is a Roth 401(k) or a Roth IRA potentially really good for estate planning too?
Good
Okay.
question.
Yes. So here's the deal. And I have this conversation with some of my older clients a lot. Okay. If we start talking about Roth conversions with a 65-year-old, they're going, are you crazy, Brack? Like, I'm
Yeah.
not going to have enough time to make up the difference in the taxes that I have to pay now and the tax-free growth that I potentially will have in the future. First of all, let's run the analysis and make sure, right? But they feel like, okay, well, if I only got 10 years to live or 15 years, that you know, is this going to make sense? And now, a lot of times, Tony, the answer is yes. Why is the answer yes? Because now what you've done is created a tax-free asset to pass on to the next generation. Okay. So you don't think about that. You say, okay, well, I don't know if I'll make up the tax differences, you know, because I got to pay the taxes now on this conversion. But if I die, it goes to my spouse. She can now has a bucket of tax free dollars. And then if she dies and it goes to the kids, Now they have a huge bucket of tax-free dollars.
So if my wife and I were older and we knew we had plenty of money to live on right now for the rest of our lives, we had, 5 to 15 years left. So we know we're going to have money we want to leave to the kids. You're saying a good option might be in our situation to put some of the money or the money we want to leave to the kids in a Roth, convert
Yeah.
it now. If we have the money to pay taxes on it now and it doesn't make a crazy, put us in a crazy tax bracket, start putting that money in a Roth now, or put some in there for the kids and the grandkids to take out tax free, or specifically designate it to,
Well, but here's the deal.
this is
Hold
for
on.
my grandkids college, or
But what's great about that scenario, though, Tony, is that they can set up. Okay, so we've all heard of the stretch IRA or the beneficiary IRA, right?
right.
So those rules changed with the 2017 Jobs and
They
Tax
got
Cut
rid
Act.
of the stretch IRA.
There's
You
no
can't stretch
stretch,
it.
but you can stretch it for a 10-year period of time now. Okay.
Sure.
So, in other words, the beneficiary has to exhaust the account after 10 years, and it has to be at zero after 10 years at the death of the original owner. But here's the deal with the Roth. You can set up a beneficiary Roth IRA. So if the husband has this, does a conversion, it goes to the wife, she dies, the benefit, the spousal continuation on with the spouse, you don't have to set up a beneficiary IRA, okay? Just to make that clear. So your IRA becomes their IRA in a spousal situation.
Sure.
But when the kids situation, okay, they get all this money, this bucket of tax-free dollars, they could take it out, of course, and none of it's going to be taxable. But think about this. Think about leaving it in a beneficiary Roth IRA and letting it compound tax-free for 10 years, okay? And then take it out. Wow, what a powerful tool to use. And by the way, that has no effect on whatever IRAs you have. So if I'm a grandchild, or if I inherit this money from my parents and I have, an IRA, a Roth IRA, and a 401k, and all these different accounts, I can open up this beneficiary IRA because my parents passed this down to me, and I can do it. It has no effect on my other IRAs.
As long as it's a Roth.
Yes. I mean,
Yeah.
come on. Now here's one little caveat to that. If my dad, okay, was over the age of retirement of required minimum distribution, so if he was 73 or older when he passed, he was taking these required minimum distributions out of his traditional IRA. I do have to take required minimum distribution. So I got to take a little bit out, even on the Roth IRA. Okay. So
even on the Roth? I thought RMDs did not apply to the Roth.
Nope. They don't to the owner while they're living, but they do apply to a non-spousal beneficiary. So anyway.
Why did they make that rule? That's crazy.
Hey, it's the government, man.
That's crazy.
But anyway, here's the point, man. And everybody knows this.
But at least it comes out tax-free with a Roth versus.
Well, for sure. Yeah.
But even though you have to they make you take a certain percentage out each year.
Yep.
It's okay. If I inherit a Roth from my parents, I still have to take something out each year.
If they were over the required minimum date.
Yep,
absolutely.
They are. So I would have to take that money out, but it would come out tax-free.
It would come out tax-free, but the point is, so people go, well, why wouldn't I just, cash the whole thing out if it's not taxable? Because you can let it
compounding interest.
And all you're doing is taking out a very little minimum amount. Okay? They're only taking out a minimum amount. That required minimum for somebody that's younger, let's say 45 or 50 or whatever age, is pretty small. It's really small. So don't let that derail your plan. But boy, oh boy, what a powerful estate planning tool, the Roth IRA.
And we're almost out of time, but I think one more quick analogy. Patrick Mahomes had a really good time. He really did well with conversions toward the end of that game, right? In the second half. And you can do well with conversions too. You can be just like Patrick Mahomes and have success with conversions if you call Brock Allspa at Allspa Wealth Management. Now, Brock, we have to go, but before we go, let's let our listeners know how to get a hold of you and get a free copy of that book.
Yeah, absolutely.
A complimentary copy of
the book. There you go. Alspau Wealth Management, all spelled out ALSPAUGH. And by the way, that name of that play was corn dog. So we've used that term of that play to McCole Hardman, Corn dog. Go get you a corn dog, Tony, to celebrate the Chiefs' victory.
Roth conversion. That's the corn dog when it comes to finances. All right. That's the corn dog play. Thank you, Brock. Thank you, listeners. That does it for today's episode of the Retirement Playbook with Brock Allspaw.